Here we're going to have the Superman exercise, squat exercise, push-up exercise, shoulder bridge, heel raise and overarm press variation. So I'll run the main variation on the video, and then over my right hand shoulder you'll see the yellow exercise, and over my left shoulder you'll see the red version of the exercise. So just work on the version of the exercise that's right for you. So we're going to start off with the Superman. Breathing relaxed, tummy's rising and falling, and then thinking about Superman flying. 2 hands up in the air. I've got tight shoulders, that's as high as I can go without this movement coming from my back. So lengthen through the spine. Have your band between your hands, and your hands are shoulder distance apart. Your band can be single, it can be double, it can be TheraBand, it can be no band at all, depending on what's right for you. We're going to lift the arms up without the pelvis coming forwards, without the ribs lifting. Weight stays firmly planted back on the feet. And then from here, I'm going to anchor with my left hand. And then I'm going to pull straight back with my right hand. I'm still reaching each time I pull back, I'm reaching for the ceiling, keeping that upper arm in close to the ear. And you're doing your reps on the right first, then your reps on the left. It's fine to turn your hand so your thumb is pointing backwards, and you can do that as a variation. You can do that all the time. You can chop and change the direction your hand is. Palm facing forwards, palm facing to the side. That's Superman. We can also then move on to the squat. So the squat variation is the offset squat. So a regular squat, a normal squat, is standing, relaxed breathing, relaxed shoulders. Legs are shoulder distance apart or a little bit further, whatever is comfortable. And then with the squat, you're aiming to keep your knees tracking in the space between your first and second toes. So just don't let your kneecaps drop in together. Then from here, hips are going backwards. We're going to hip hinge, so bend at the hips, and also bend at the knees, coming down as low as you can control, and then pushing through your feet to come back up again. Some days you might find you get lower than others. It'll all depend. It doesn't matter how low you go. What matters is that you're controlling what you're doing. For our offset squat then, legs go wider. Kneecaps keep tracking in the space over the first and second toes. Right knee is straight, and then the majority of the squat happens over towards the left hand side. So it's the same as a normal squat, but we've taken the right leg out of the picture. It's just there for balance. My pelvis is pointing relatively forward, so are my shoulders. So I'm not facing in the direction of my toes on my left leg. Hips go back, keep that kneecap tracking over the space between the first and second toes. Keep your weight to the left as you push yourself back up, all the way back up, and then back into the center. Weight over, bend the hips and the knees. Spine is long, keep that length through your spine, keep your breathing relaxed, and you're pushing back up. That's our squat. Our next one is a push-up. So we're going to come down into 4-point kneeling to start with. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips. So just watch for the knees coming too far forwards or the hands coming too far forwards. From here, as much distance between top of the head and the tailbone as we can get. Breathing is relaxed. And then I'm going to walk my knees back. You can do this with your knees directly under your hips if you find that it's a bit too challenging when you walk your knees back. So either way, knees directly under the hips or knees walked back a little bit. Just watch when you're walking your knees back that you don't transfer all your body weight back as well. So keep that those wrists under the shoulders. From here, you have an imaginary line between your middle fingertips, long spine, shoulder blades to back pockets, breathing relaxed. Hold your imaginary peach and watch that the ribs are not sagging downwards. And then we're going to bend the elbows so that your forehead comes to touch that imaginary line between your fingertips. So you're keeping your weight forwards rather than coming to the ground back here. Go as low as you can control and back up again. So if you struggle with it a little bit, bring those knees in. That's our push-up. Next, we have shoulder bridge, working the backs of the legs here. So we're coming down into our shoulder bridge position. And again, we're nice and long through the spine. Breathing is relaxed, tummy's rising and falling. Bring your heels nice and close to your hips and make sure those legs are hip distance apart. So watch for this, watch for this. Put the legs together, walk the toes away from each other, walk the heels away from each other, and that should bring you into hip distance. Breathing is relaxed, and we're going to imagine there's a sling wrapped around the pelvis attached to the ceiling, and that's what's going to pull me up. So without pushing down on the feet, thinking about that sling and lifting the pelvis up into a diagonal and then back down again with control. You can play around with this exercise. Back down with control. You can come up on your toes, makes it a little bit more challenging. You can move your feet forwards or move your feet back, and you'll target different parts of the backs of your legs. And for some people, a single leg version can give a better workout. So you're just crossing one ankle across the opposite knee into a figure of 4. That's the shoulder bridge. And our next exercise then is the overhead press. So the green version or the middle version is without the rotation. So we're doing one arm at a time. So we have to counteract that side bend. With the overhead press, we're starting with the elbow bent and with the face of the dumbbell pointing out. So you can read whatever's written on the face of the dumbbell. Breathing relaxed, shoulders relaxed, and I'm going to push straight up and back down again. So I'm watching for hitching and I'm watching for side bending, pushing straight up and back down again, controlling this as well. Keep the breathing relaxed and back down. So you're looking for a fully straight elbow. If you can't fully straighten your elbow, your weight may be too heavy. So that's our shoulder press. And then we've got our heel raise. So heel raise, we're doing it now as a strengthening exercise for the backs of the legs. If you find it challenging on balance, put your fingertips on the wall or hold on to something to control you and to stabilize you so you can focus on getting the movement right. Pushing through the balls of the feet. Push as the heels lift up as high as you can get them, taking about 3 seconds to come up. Pause briefly. And then taking about 3 seconds to come back down again. As you're doing that heel lift, you're watching for momentum kicking in and that lifting your heels for you. And you're also looking for to avoid speed. Too much speed will introduce momentum and gravity instead of muscle work. You can do a single leg version. You can do that as a red exercise or a progression exercise. But don't go on to single leg versions until you're getting good heel clearance and a good consistent movement. When you finish your exercises, you just relax your breathing, and then going for your second set of whatever number of reps you've been doing, roughly between 8 and 12, depending on what your instruction is or what you've been